Welcome to my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. Thank y'all so much for stopping by again today. Truly grateful. A beautiful Monday morning here. I know it's probably still Sunday over on the East Coast, but recently I applied for and was approved for my daughter's CRBA and passport. She's officially a U.S. citizen. And you say, well, what's a CRBA, Cal? It's just an official government document, showing that the child born outside the United States acquired U.S. citizenship because one of the parents was American. At least one of the parents was American. But what shocked me was so few people even knew what a CRBA was. Because when I announced it, because I've done it 3 times, people was like, well, what is that? And I was really shocked. But what shocked me more was the amount of children that are being born over here out of wedlock to Filipinos and foreign men. They're abandoned, neglected, and oftentimes stigmatized. Men are coming over here, getting the tune up, and then that's it. And now, look, I'm not preaching. I'm not coming down on anybody. I'm not judging anybody. I just want to talk about this because my thing is, why isn't this talked about more? I know there's a YouTube channel, shout out to Blur and Leia, I believe it's the name of it. And what they do is they try to find some of these children over here, the Amerasians. But that's about it, which is a big deal, but they don't really talk about the particulars. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the particulars today because I was talking to my buddy Eric Terry. He's a professor down in Miami. And, when I got my CRBA, he was like, man, you ought to talk about that. He said, I guarantee you there's so many, mixed race children that are just left over there and the fathers don't do the proper thing. And I was like, well, I did one before, years ago, but I'll just do it again. There's no protection for the children over here when that happens. Okay, when guys come over here now, during the days when the bases were here, there's no real numbers for real, but they say tens of thousands of babies were born over here from U.S. servicemen and Filipinos, and they were, neglected. It's different than Vietnam. Vietnam had the, what's it called? The Amerasian Homecoming Act, 1987, where it helped mixed race children of, servicemen and their mothers and certain family members, who were born in this situation, abandoned. And it was like a humanitarian act. They didn't even need all the paperwork and all that stuff. They basically gave them just a straight path to U.S. citizenship. But it was limited to Vietnam, because a lot of, the situations were different in Vietnam versus the Philippines. In Vietnam, it came from, a war type situation. But over here, it was just people being irresponsible. So there's no such act. And y'all seen me, I've had a couple of people on my channel, both women, mixed race, who were unable to get their citizenship. The fathers didn't want to get involved. And it's really a sad situation. I don't know if it's a shame factor, because I told you it's all about, a lot of times these kids are stigmatized because when I tried to do my research, there's a lot of inconsistent information, the definition of what's considered an Amerasian. It's just not enough research. So I'm thinking, well, maybe they just don't care. So I want to talk about it today. I want to say, look, guys, you grown men, I can't tell you what to do. But sex is, the purpose of sex is not really pleasure. It's procreation. And a lot of times when you come over here, we're dealing with younger women. They're very fertile. They have children. even bar girls. And you go back, it's even some guys who have good intentions. They just don't know the path to go down. So I'm going to talk about the path to go down over here. It's time we stop this, man. But remember, America doesn't send its best over here. And just because the information is coming from me, a lot of people ain't going to listen anyway. But for the people who want this information, when Booby was born, I knew right away, okay, I was going to have to get her CRBA. You got to apply for it. It's only like $200. You fill out the application. You get all the proof, like pictures before the woman was pregnant, y'all together, because you got to establish the relationship, almost like a K-1 visa and all that, right? And, all her prenatal records. And then you apply for an appointment at the consulate or the embassy. And then they approve you or not. Ours was turned down the first time because Maryland was pregnant during the lockdown. So she wasn't going back and forth to the doctor, as she normally would. So there was no ultrasound and, everything like that. She had very few prenatal records. So we had to go through the DNA process. Well, I did it, because I wanted Booby to have that option. I wasn't going to just leave her over here. Okay. So it's real simple. They've even got Facebook groups, CRBA Facebook groups. They really have Facebook groups that help you with anything. You don't need a lawyer. You don't need anything. It's a very simple process, guys. Do that for your children if you happen to have babies over here out of wedlock. And not only that, if you want to play that, I don't think I'm the father game, then take the DNA test, man. But a lot of these children, they're abandoned, meaning by the father, neglected, they're not taken care of. It's tough over here. Okay, so I'm not preaching to anybody, I don't give a damn. But there's people out there who want this information. I'm going to give it to you. It's different from Vietnam. They had a humanitarian act. People came forward. The government got behind it. And they were given a clear path to the United States. Look this up, guys. It's important. The Amerasian Homecoming Act, 1987. No such act exists for the Philippines. And they said tens of thousands were left behind during the base days. Well, how many's been left behind since then? Probably thousands and thousands since the Philippines opened up. Because we coming over here, y'all know the situation. I'm just giving you facts. You're not wearing rubbers. A lot of times the women don't even require you to wear rubbers. They're thinking, it's going to be a real relationship. It's going to lead to marriage. No. You blowing up the spot, shooting up the spot, whatever you want to call it. Then you're running back to your country. It's not just America, it's foreign men, period. I see it all the time. I just want to talk about it because nobody else seems to talk about it. There's a whole YouTube channel, and they do great work, but they kind of like try to find these fathers. But they don't talk about what's going on. We're being irresponsible. That's all it is. We get drunk or whatever it is. And it's not just the men. The women have to take responsibility too. It takes two to tango. Okay? But the fact is, thousands and thousands of these mixed race children are being left over here, man. They're not getting their rightful citizenship just by birth. It's their birthright. And it used to keep me up at night because I had done it twice before. I got two sons who are now in America. They're thriving, doing good, and it wasn't nothing I wanted to be, for somebody to pat me on the back for. It was just, my responsibility. I had to do that. But I'm making the video because so few people even know about the CRBA. They don't even know, what happens, Cal? I have a baby by a Philippine over here. They didn't even know. They think the baby is automatically a U.S. citizen. No, it's a process. You got to prove citizenship. And I want to shout out Franz. He's from Virginia, but he lives in Tanzania now. He came back all the way from America and did it for his daughter. A couple of years ago, I met him in Manila. It's just, I don't know, the hairs on my arm stand up when I think about it. He just said, man, it was the right thing to do. I think his daughter was 6 at the time or something like that. Because you can do it all the way up to they're 18. Now, after they're 18, it's a different process. But it breaks my heart, because y'all seen when I interviewed Gail. Gail's very intelligent, very sharp, got a college degree. But her life was hell over here because her ignorant ass father wouldn't do the right thing. Even when we found him, we found his sorry ass. And he says, oh, how'd you find me? Don't worry about that. We found you. And he says, okay, if you do the DNA and it comes back positive, I'll take it from there. Well, you sorry bastard. It came back positive. 99.99% that you're the father. And now he done blocked Gail, changed his number and everything. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is the reason why I made the video today. I don't give a damn. You're a grown man. You do whatever you want to do over here. You're not going to take the information because it's coming from me. $200. That's all it takes. Y'all worried about child support and stuff like that. That's all y'all worried about. I ain't paying no child support. Well, keep it in your pants then. Wear a rubber. Be responsible. But we don't talk about it enough. None of the vloggers talk about it. This should be talked about more often. Babies being left behind over here, abandoned, neglected by their fathers. Luckily, it's in the Philippines where it's a family-oriented, country, the culture. But the two women that I interviewed, they had black fathers. One was from Africa, one was from America. They're stigmatized, they're bullied. And that's not gonna happen to Booby. I'm gonna be here till I die. Okay? If you wanna bully Booby, you gotta bully me. Okay? But Booby's gonna have me because there's gonna be questions when she gets a certain age that only I can answer, guys. Just think about that. When you come over here, jumping up and down in these women. Okay? You get the memo, oh, it's easy to get a woman over in the Philippines. Well, I'm going to give you another memo. If she gets pregnant, take care of the baby. Do the right thing. Get the CRBA, or if you're from Canada or wherever it is, the citizenship. Give these people a path to citizenship, some options. So if you're in America, if you're in the Philippines, wherever y'all find in your heart to help somebody, not a day goes by I don't help somebody. Because if I don't know anything else, I know this one thing for sure. When we help other people, we help ourselves. Take care. Stay safe, stay out of trouble. I'll see you next time. Don't do anything stupid. Zip it up. Wrap it up. Whatever it takes. But it's far too many babies being born over here that are being abandoned and neglected by you sorry-ass men. Okay? We don't talk about it. People are ashamed. They're stigmatized. Whatever it is, well, I'm going to talk about it. Do the right thing. Spend $200. Get the baby a CRBA citizenship. So long after your sorry ass is gone, they'll have some options. They won't be left over here like Gail was left over here. It's a hard life for Gail, but somehow, some way, she's made it. I would be proud to have a daughter like Gail. Imagine if she can make it over here under her situation, what she could do in America. But y'all don't care. You're going to push back on this video like you push back on all my videos. I don't give a damn. You come over here with that middle school attitude. You grown-ass men, you done retired. You got families over there, and all you worried about is child support. Well, deny the tune-up then. Okay?
Boots on the ground. Don't Don't do nothing stupid. Give that man his flowers. A tribute through music. If I don't know nothing, I know one thing. When we help others,